Welcome, everybody, to Horror Nights. Tonight, we have a very special treat for you. Now, if you've been following me for the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about some rather extreme artsy films. We talked about The Benefactress. We talked about Corporate Torment. We talked about Darius. Well, the last two that the first two I mentioned, we talked about was The Benefactress and Corporate Torment. And we have with us today the protagonist of this, the one and only Juicy X. Welcome.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me.
I have to say, first of all, huge fan of your work that you've done in those two, the short and the film. The role you played, the mannerisms, everything about it just it made it part of the film. It made his whatever the director's vision, Guerrilla's, Metropolitanos, it must have made it that much better because you filled that role.
It was a very special role to be part of and to be selected, which kind of happened by accident, was, really, it's like nothing I've ever done before and likely never will again.
Well, yeah, I mean, if people have seen the film, the roles in both of those films are quite extreme, and they take cinema to a place that not a lot of directors or filmmakers go. But it's still film and it's still art. And in my mind, it's one of the greatest pieces of art because it's unfiltered. It's raw. It's coming straight from the mind to the camera to boom.
Pretty much. Yeah. That's absolutely it.
Now, you first got involved with Corporate Torment.
Yes.
That was a fun little one.
It was fun. If you can call it fun. No, it was fun. We filmed that super fast. I kind of like the way that Guerrilla works because it works for me. I have been acting for years, but I've never done anything like this on film. But Guerrilla works really quickly and often changes his mind about things on the spot. I mean, practically within the first couple of hours of us being in the Benefactress filming, just any sort of script, not that he has a script, but he has a vision. Even that changed at the time. And the same with Corporate Torment. He films at speed. He films as to whatever takes him. So it was, really a different way of working for me.
I have to ask because you start off the Benefactress kind of telling us a little bit about it. Did they put a real camera in your ass for this?
That would be telling. Let's just say that some of it got a little bit intimate.
Well, yes, and I remember, I've had some conversations with Guerrilla, and he has told me that, some of it, yes, was all staged. Some of it, they just went full shoot in and just kept everything real, just, for the cinematic purposes. But everything that was done on scene, set, camera, every part of it was all consensual. Everything was
100% consensual. I would say I'd say only about 10% of it was, I can honestly, Guerrilla's talked about it, so I can say this. I would say at a guess around it, about 10% of it was staged, if I'm going to be honest. The rest of it, you see what you see what's
going on. Yeah,
you see actually what's going on. And it was very, like I say, in the moment, and but 100% consensual. We'd had discussions for literally months before we went to filming. We had regular monthly meetings with the whole team. When I say team, there was only 5 of us, but it was absolutely consensual, fully discussed, and even on the day when something might have got a little bit out of hand, both of us were absolutely, both me and Mystery Woman were able to say, hang on, can we pause? Can we take a break? So yeah, absolutely consensual.
Consensual, and obviously even with the small group, but there must have been a lot of trust in there, with everybody trusting each other.
Yeah, very much so. I've worked with Guerrilla obviously on Corporate Torment, and so I got to know him over quite a long period of time. And then myself and Mystery Woman, we had our own separate discussions, sort of away from Guerrilla and the team, so that we could get to know each other a bit and spend time together before filming. And like we had dinner and sort of had a good conversation about what we were going to expect. So again, consent was everything.
You know, I mean, I obviously appreciate that. Nobody wants to see anybody make something that's gonna detrimentally harm anyone, or and first of all, it's illegal. But second of all, you hear terror stories sometimes on film and on sets that things were just kind of pushed too far, and
Yeah,
other people it went too fast, and people just didn't have answers. But it sounds like everything, everybody was kind of involved along the way with you guys,
absolutely. Yeah,
which on a film like this, I think is very important because it's a
yeah.
graphic film. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I
But
mean, there's a lot of stuff going on at the moment. For example, there's one of the reality shows is talking about how it got taken too far, and some of the females who took part in one of these so-called reality dating shows are now saying that not some of it was forced, some of it was not consensual, etc. And that's a horrible situation to be in.
it is.
But we were safe. We were always open with each other, and able to discuss what was going on.
And I think making with that, and you having experiences like that, and directors making films like that with those experiences, kind of allow this market to keep going. Because if it's safe and everything's fine, everything's essential, then well, there's no real harm. Now I'm just expressing my art. Nobody, no animals were harmed in the making of this product or this
Yeah.
film, and no humans were harmed either. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, great. And you see these things done properly. Because, there's been, a lot of, I'd say, controversial films over the time, some banned, some horrific, some
Yeah.
not done properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, that's great to hear that, because like I said, I mean, I've had a few conversations. Very nice person to talk to, rather mysterious, but a big fan of his work just because of these, ideas and what we see on film. It's not your typical storyline, it's not your typical plots.
Definitely not.
It's nothing. It's a visual, I call it a visual emotional mindfuck, because it plays with everything, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, everything.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's and I think part of that comes from the in the moment, on the fly conceptualization that he has. And if he had in his mind he wanted to film it from this angle, and then that moment doesn't work, so he'll just switch it up
Instead of just going through the motions and
it's very much yeah, and I think that's what really makes his work very different from anything else.
Now, let me ask you, originally and back in the day, your first role was with The Short. How did you find that? How did you cast for that role? Did you see this posted someone say, hey, I want to try out for this?
It was actually on a acting website that is here in the UK, and I applied. He'd advertised wanting actresses for this, and I applied. I believe there were quite a few applications, and I got selected, and we got to know each other. We met up. It was actually back then, that was during COVID. If everyone remembers those.
Yeah, I'm guessing UK was the same as the US. Just nobody was around. Everything's kind
nobody's
of
around. We met up outside in a park, because you could meet up outside at that point, and chatted and got to know each other a bit, and then more conversations, and then eventually we booked the filming time. Some of that was filmed outside as well, and as you know, and then we moved to a filming date, which was actually in a house elsewhere, and we did that in probably, I don't know, maybe half a day, but it was very fast paced, and just really it gave me a really good idea of how he worked, which is why I was happy to work with him on Benefactress.
Benefactress, yeah.
But
let me ask you, because that movie is kind of wild too. When you're making a film, obviously you're not seeing the whole picture, you're not hearing the sound, you're only seeing the roles you're in, you're seeing it differently. When you were able to watch the film or the short in its complete entirety, what did you think of it?
Oh, it was an absolute mindfuck.
Yeah. You're like, what is this?
There was bits in it, and I said to him afterwards, I was like, I don't remember doing that. And he said, no, I did that in afterwards. I don't remember you saying those lines. No, I added those afterwards, and I had zero idea he was going to do any of this. I mean, some of the cuts he made, of course, we were doing it without any of the amazing music that adds so much atmosphere. So I had zero idea of how it was going to end up, because we were like, okay, let's film this bit. You're on the bed, you're doing this, you're doing that. Right, okay, cut. All right, who wants a cup of tea? Let's go sit in the kitchen and have a drink. Then we'll, take
It's just
break.
going scene to scene. Yeah, you
so
don't
it's
think of
literally
it.
going scene to scene. And yeah, so at the end of it, and we filmed some bits were filmed out of sequence. So what you see wasn't necessarily filmed in order, like most movies in reality, let's face it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, his ideas sort of went out the window within an hour or two of being at the house filming. So yeah, it was very much in the moment, and seeing the final product was completely not what I expected, in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you never, like I said, we filmed something, but that film could be, depending on how it's edited, depending on the cuts, depending on the sound, music, and everything else, that film can look and sound and feel totally different. Any film
Yeah,
can.
yeah. I mean, I recently watched something else, a film a film series I'm very fond of, and they've just finished. They did 3 seasons and it's done. And the first 2 seasons were amazing, and they had the budget. And yeah, final season, they clearly didn't have the budget. Everything was rushed, and it shows. It really shows, and it's very disappointing when that happens to a film. But I guess that's just somehow how filming works. So yeah,
Some films I think or shows run their course, and it's honestly hard for that last season and any kind of franchise to wrap it up to make people happy.
that's the hard part. That's the really hard part. I mean, we've all been fans of certain franchises or whatever, and they do a final season, and the fans are like, "Really? That's what you gave us? You've given us the worst ending ever."
People be like on it for 10 years, 7 seasons in. They're like, wait, that's what we get? And it's just like
screaming, yeah, screaming on social media, going, "Why?"
But I'll say this. I mean, watching The Benefactress, I don't think anything looks rushed. Even though you're saying everything was kind of on the spot, everything does look like it was placed in on purpose.
Oh, definitely placed it on purpose, because that's what he wanted at the time. This was 2 days solid filming, so it wasn't like Corporate Torment that I just filmed.
It wasn't like the show. This was a 2 full days.
But because you can see that in the fact that it's over an hour long.
Yeah.
That we filmed it over 2 days.
And now on this one, you had another you had the mystery woman, so you had a little bit more people to the set, which must have been nice. But same kind of pace, you'd be filming and then just stop, take breaks. If I'm correct, Benefactress was all one location?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Yeah, all in the house. And no, like I said, it's one of those films I don't want to spoil it for people, because I do want people to watch it and generally be shocked and awed and what am I watching? But that one is even more of a mindfuck, because you don't play a very nice person at all. Probably even meaner than the Corporate Torment lady.
Yeah.
And
she's
so
not a good person.
And in most cinema, we don't see that. We see usually a male protagonist in these cases or in these kind of circumstances.
Yeah, and I think that's something that is another reason I love working with Guerrilla, is because his view, he adores women, and he loves to see them in power. So I think that's something that very much comes across in majority of his work, and particularly with Benefactress. He has got me in the female lead, which actually I wasn't originally supposed to be. I wasn't supposed to be in that role.
Really?
Yeah. He had a completely different idea, and he had a American actress picked, and everything was going ahead, and I was going to be in it in a different role, and something didn't work out for that lead actress. So he just switched it up and said, okay, I would like to offer you the lead role, and he completely changed effectively the storyline so it could fit with me, with my character rather than the other actress's character. So yeah, I wasn't
That's
actually
impressive, though.
Yeah. I remember the phone call one evening here, and he sort of was quite nervous about telling me and explaining why the other actress couldn't do it now, and sort of like, how do you feel if I offer you the main role? And I was really shocked. But then
I'm guessing it was a different sort of role
yeah,
than what you were originally going to play. Yes.
Oh yeah, it was. But also he had to change his concept based on what because he knew the other actress well. But I suppose it's a bit like casting any actor. I mean, if you take, I'm going to pick two random actors here. If you're going to cast, pick a big name actor.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you're going to listen.
Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
And oh my God, why have I gone blank on
that?
Go
Joe Pesci. Go Joe Pesci.
Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci. Two very different actors with two very different ideas, with two very different looks. They will take a character very differently. And if you want to cast them in a specific role, you're going to give them different lines, different ways of reading that line, etc., because they are two completely different actors. And
yeah, their mannerisms, their facial expression, everything looks different.
And that's what what Guerrilla was aiming for. That's why he had to change what he wanted to fit the actress that he knew. It was helpful that he knew me already, having worked on Corporate Torment. So it was just the way it ended up working. So
the way he did cast you, he casted you, you know, like I said, like a very strong woman in charge, in power, you know, very almost like stone, very tough, strong, powerful, physically and mentally, because it wasn't like you were second guessing anything you had to do. And physically, you could manhandle anything you needed to do. You could push people around. Again, that's, you know, a lot of American films and even other films, they usually have the male doing that, or they, you know, just go into that common trope, which I found was very different with this. Once I seen that it was a female doing all this, I'm like, okay, this is something interesting. This is something a little bit different already, right off the bat.
Especially when it comes to something that is about horror or porn or whatever, women are generally cast as the victims.
Yes,
pretty much.
And it's usually the female killers or whatever that are like, wow, that movie stands out, or that stands out, because we're not used to seeing it. We're used to, you know, like you said, you know, the women looking, all the women in the scene acting like the mystery woman, you know, with no power or being the victim, and it's like, well, that's not really real world either. There's a lot of powerful women out there that do a lot of powerful things that guys don't know about. Same way with guys, not, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're equal in a lot of ways. We just see only one side of it. But again, like I said, for the cinematic reasons, it makes it a nice contrast, because you know, again, we're watching you do these horrible things to another female, but it's like, in the back of our head, it's like, well, was she forced to do this by somebody else, or is this on her own free will? You know, as the viewer, you think of all these questions in movies. You know, why is she doing this? Is there somebody making her do this? You know, like I said, but you know, and that would change the whole outlook too. If you were forced to do these things by another person, and you had like a pyramid, you know, coming down, then that's another whole story.
Yeah.
But that's what I like about Guerrilla's movies. You can watch the same movie a few times, multiple times, and get different interpretations of what you're watching.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely. The little visuals he puts in, sort of the on-screen flashes of some text that might seem irrelevant.
Oh, the little subliminals. Yeah, I stop it so I can read what it says. And sometimes it says some wild things, but the way he edits, the things he does, like there's even just one frame, he changed your image in Corporate Torment. And it's just for a frame, but it's so subtle. And if you go through his films and you freeze, you can see a lot of subliminal things, which I think is very cool. It plays with the viewer's mind. It gets us almost in an open sense, because a
Yeah.
lot of people go into a film looking and watching it in one way and being like, okay, this is the plot that I read and this is what it has to be about. And they don't deviate from that. But when you watch one
Yeah.
of these films, it's like, forget about the plot, forget about what you read. Just watch the film and come to your own conclusion.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do agree with that. It's and I think that's what he likes about what he does, is that you can interpret things as you want it to. So it's not like a standard movie whereby, here's the story: boy meets girl, boy and girl fall in love, boy and girl split up, boy and girl back together, and there's your story, finish and end. That's it, beginning, middle, and end. That doesn't work with this movie.
No.
Um,
And it's good because you can't anticipate what's going to happen. A lot of movies you get
absolutely.
anticipation and you're just like, okay, well, I've seen this before in another kind of variant. This is
Yeah,
how it's going to end.
I just know those two are going to end up together because that's the movie. Yeah. So
You don't know where this movie's going. You really
no,
don't.
no.
And that's interesting. Like you said, you were cast in the role and then got moved in, because he did say, I believe he said it was like something like over 200 different people for that lead role that he like interviewed and looked at and watched.
Apparently, yeah.
And again, it's not an easy role to fill, and I could see some people going, "No, this isn't my thing." And again, I think it helped that you already worked on a film, because you had that trust kind of built, that hey, this guy's a solid guy. He's not going to try to hurt me. Like, okay, we can make a film together that's kind of racy without feeling kind of weird.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, a lot of some horror films, they dive deep into the blood, the gore, amputations, torture. I feel like Guerrilla dives more into the sexuality aspect of the
Yeah.
film, and
Yes.
that's fine too. It's just
Yeah.
another medium. Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I won't consider it porn, because I believe it's an artistic expression of a film.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think. I mean, fine, you can put it in the category of pornography if you want to, because there is sex in it. That's it.
Yeah, but
But
most horror movies have some sex in it. That's
yeah,
the sex kills the tension of the horror.
yeah. And whilst the sex, I think it's not necessarily about the sex. It's more about the sexuality.
Yes.
It's not about the physical acts that you see on screen. It's more about, well, what's behind it. Why is
What's the meaning of it?
she treating Mystery Woman like this? You actually don't even know how she's ended up there.
You know nothing of it.
You don't know any of the background. So again, going back to what you said, you can have whatever take you like about that story.
You can make a story in your head that it was the lady on the camera that put her there. You can make a story that you brought her there. She's been there forever, that it was your daughter. There's so many stories that can go on.
Absolutely.
Just from watching it, because some information isn't given to us, where it's left open for interpretation on purpose.
Definitely. Which is exactly what Guerrilla wants.
Well, yeah, we're talking about his film. A lot of films are open and closed books. There's nothing really to interpret. Okay, that was cool. Either it worked and they made it work with their story, or they failed at it and it didn't come out good and it looks bad. And it's like, okay, well, then that's that. With this, it's like, we don't know what looks good and bad, because we don't even know where we're supposed to be looking. We don't know where he was going. I don't know if he deviated from the whole original script and it was all mistakes, or this was planned exactly how he wanted. Like, and that's the mystery I like about his films, because you don't know what's in there. And there's all these little elements and things that you do go back and watch. You do try to see, oh, I just seen a flash of something. I got to go back and see what that was. Especially with, as the movie's taken, you see these kind of scenes, and you see these flashes, of just text. It's like, okay, well, what is he trying to tell me? What am I supposed to be learning?
And some of it is literally just sort of just put in there because he just liked it at the time. Like, you might see me walk in a room and open a cupboard and get something out and shut the cupboard and walk away. Nobody knows why we're doing that, but he just said, actually, can you just walk in the room, open the cupboard and get something out and walk out of the room again? Sort of, it's like just something he wanted right there and then. Now, did it have any meaning to the plot? We don't know. But that is literally how his brain works.
Yeah. No, and again, I commend that. A lot of people, they'll write a full script and be like, we're not moving past this. And In some ways, that might work for some films, but I think when you're getting into this kind of a film or art house films, you kind of have to let the paintbrush go. If it wants to go over here, it's going over
Yeah,
here, and
yeah.
if you see something that needs to be changed on spot, go for it.
It's
It's
like
your
any
film. You're
painting.
making the film.
It's a painting.
It is.
And that painting, and that's where art, of whether it's art film or writing or movies or an actual piece of physical art, it can go where the hell you like. And we would be so boring if we all like the same thing. You wouldn't have the amount of films we have out there. You wouldn't have the amount of artwork in museums. You wouldn't have the number of books on shelves that are out there. There is something for everybody, and that's what makes art fantastic.
Well, yeah, and it's not like you. I like art in a way that, yes, there's people out there that be like, "Oh, that painting's bad," or "That painting's no good," or "This isn't good," or see, I can't look at art like that. I can say, "Well, this art wasn't for me," or "It doesn't speak to me," but I
Whereas I
can't.
can say, "Oh my God, I loved that. That was amazing. That really
I
spoke
can
to me."
Yes, but I can't definitively say that's good or bad because I don't believe there is good or bad
No,
art. It's
no,
just art is art.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
And there is something for everyone. If I hated this movie, I'm sure there's somebody that would have loved it. I mean, I happen to be lucky and loved all his films, but I'm sure there's people out there that are like, this is pornography or this is some kind of naked crap. I don't want to deal with this. This is insane.
Oh, there's been some, really crap reviews where they've said, "Oh, this is just basic porn and it's a load of crap." And that's fine. That's your opinion. You have that opinion. Good on you. We really don't care.
But it wasn't, again, when it's art and it's like, well, it wasn't you that made the movie. It wasn't you that funded the, like, if you were the funder of the movie and this is what came back and you weren't expecting it, okay, be mad.
Yeah.
I was the producer. I said, make a film and you bring me, this. Okay, we have a problem. But if you're not putting money into it, if you're not putting time into it and it's not your film, just watch it, enjoy it or don't
Yeah.
enjoy it,
Yeah.
and then watch something else.
Yeah. And then go watch something else because there is a lot out there to choose from.
Some people just get so dwelled. They see something they don't like, and it's like their life purpose to go out and just try to destroy. It's like, no, you don't like. We don't like things every second of the day. We just don't do them.
No,
You
absolutely.
could have just had a sip of your tea and said, "I don't like this," and go get another cup of tea.
Or a different flavor tea, because there's many
Yeah,
flavors of
exactly.
tea.
And I mean, that's the choice. Is the same thing with film and stuff. You
Yeah.
don't like it, you can just change the channel. You can find something else. There's so much out there. But then there is this stuff that if you are looking for it or you think you are interested, that is available. I'm glad that I seen that this movie has it has physical, distribution, which I still believe is very important.
Yeah.
I ended up getting a copy from Blood Pact Films that's here in the US, but they did a great job with that. It's a nice Blu-ray and it actually comes with the short Corporate Torment on it.
Blood Pact are doing such amazing work for us right now. The distribution is going great guns, and we are so happy with, especially Guerrilla is so happy with the work they are putting into the distribution of this movie. Yeah, it's just going.
It's great to see because I believe we're living in a period where, yes, distribution or physical media, I would say, some people are just like, it's yesterday, don't worry about it. But then you got a whole bunch of people that either grew up with like VHS, like myself, that just like to collect and like the physical in it.
Absolutely. I mean,
And
there's
there's
something
also
about
the
streaming. Streaming is okay, but something, if you are a collector and you want a copy of that DVD, then, or that Blu-ray, then yeah, just give us something. I mean, going back to the franchise I was talking about earlier, that's sort of gone a bit down for the final season. The last couple of seasons, we had merchandise, we had promo, we had advertising all over the place, all sorts of stuff. This season, final season, virtually no promotion, very minimal merchandise until the film had been out for at least a month.
yeah.
Yeah, and I guess they were waiting to see what the reception was to the final season.
They didn't want to be stuck with a bunch of merch that nobody
Yeah.
would buy.
Right, yeah. And I guess they found there was enough interest to know that people would still buy it, but it's just really disappointing. So yeah, I absolutely, and I'm a collector of certain memorabilia or figurines or whatever you wanted to have. So I like the physical stuff as well. So while streaming is all very useful, it doesn't necessarily give you a satisfaction that you have from owning the product.
No, and also, I mean, let's face it, if the internet doesn't work, you're not watching anything unless you own it.
Yeah.
There's how many times the internet watch goes out, and my wife and my kid, they can't watch any of their shows, and I just throw in one of my Blu-rays. I'm good. Don't bother me. I have a bunch of stuff. I have, thousands of things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And again, it's about owning it. I think I don't really feel like I own anything that's digital. I feel like it's still rented or borrowed. But having that on my Mando, whatever the video, the collection, the figures, I do figures as well, and the horror stuff. I like to go to the conventions, get stuff signed. I'm big into horror. That's my jam. But I noticed with that, a lot of people do still try to collect the VHS. So when he told, because that was one of my second questions I asked Guerrilla was, well, does this have a Blu-ray or a DVD that I can buy and watch? Because I want to watch it on the TV. I don't want to just watch it on my computer. Because he sent me a screener copy, and B, I like what I watched on the screen. I would like to support further and buy a physical copy. And he came back with that. And again, I was very happy with that because it came out, rather quickly. Sometimes the smaller distribution companies, they take a little time to get your product. I've had things take up to like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month. This was like here in a week and a half, and perfect condition, no breaks, nothing broken. Even Amazon sends me broken Blu-rays. I open up, the case is broken. I'm like, it's brand new.
Oh.
But I'm excited for that because, like I said, and you guys must be too, because that just gives a lot more people the opportunity to see you guys.
Absolutely, yeah. It's being screened in some cinemas in the US, so people get to see it on the big screen, which is really exciting.
Now, let me ask them: how have your friends reacted to watching you in these films?
None of them know.
Beautiful. I love it.
Nobody knows I've done this movie. I might have mentioned in the past that I made this film a few years ago. My family don't know what the movie is. Nobody.
But just like show you, like, hey guys, look what I made. This is crazy. You're not gonna like me anymore, but let's watch it. No.
This movie is never going to be shown in the. This is one of the reasons I agreed to do the movie. Is because I knew from the start this movie will never be shown in the UK on a national level. Because this sort of movie is not the sort of movie that gets shown in this country.
It's gonna get banned, or it's gonna get not shown, pushed out.
It's not even. It's not. It's certainly never gonna. It might be available on. I mean, I believe that Guerrilla's tried to get it on a couple of streaming platforms, but this movie is too extreme for the UK. For our laws.
I mean, I know there's a few streaming platforms that probably would definitely take, just because they've already taken films like Serbian film, which in my opinion, is a way worse film and doesn't have the rewatch value.
Yeah.
You watch it, all your shocks are done, and you're like, okay. With these movies that he has, yes, they're shocking, but you kind of want to watch them again. There's things you missed. There's a rewatch value to his films. But I can see, the mainstream isn't going to be picking this up.
That's one of the reasons I agree. I did agree to it, because I knew it wouldn't be here. I've kept my identity secret. I don't discuss the movie online. I don't engage with any of the social media material.
So you're not out there sharing it, promoting it, doing any of that. Everything is from the shadows.
Yeah. So whilst I'm super proud of the product, and in many ways, a tiny bit of me is a little bit heartbroken that I can't share one of the most incredible films I've ever made in my career, and one of the best quality ones I've probably made. But regardless of the content, just the film quality and the actual production of it is just beyond anything that I've done. But I have a full-time job, which would
I mean, anything into the personal life, that kind of film is going to cause a little bit of issue.
So this is strictly private. None of my family, none of my friends know anything about this. That's
It's a
life.
deep, it's a deep secret, but in some ways, again, it must be a little bit hard just because, like you said, it's something that you are very, very, very proud of. So it's like, it's kind of like the cast of, like, some of the movies that were done with found footage. They weren't able to go to the premieres or anything because they're supposed to be missing. It's like that was the Blair Witch Project. None of the people could celebrate the film because they were supposed to be missing, so they weren't allowed to go anywhere. It's kind of like that. It's like, no, I can clap from afar, but nobody really knows, except the
Yeah,
people. I mean, you can obviously, message the people that were in the film. They're gonna know that you were in the film, but if you talk to Guerrilla and stuff and he tells you updates, obviously, but
absolutely. Yeah, we're in touch a lot.
that is interesting though. Like I wondered how you maneuvered that because it is such, like I said, I could just see people talking just, oh, how was it? It's asking questions the whole day at work. It would be like, well, what'd you do there? What was this like? Right? Because of,
This is why
some.
it's fun for me to talk to people like yourself about the movie, because I don't get to talk about it at length with
Yeah,
anyone
you
else.
don't get to discuss it because it's kind of cut short of where you can
Yeah,
even start it. But obviously, like I said, this was something that you're proud of. You wanted to do it. And I'm guessing you're happy you did. You said it was, like the best film you've ever been in or done, production and such. And that speaks a lot of testament to Guerrilla too, I think, because he wasn't
yeah,
working with a huge budget on the film. It wasn't insane.
no,
But
not at
he
all.
but he made everything work very nicely.
He made everything
It
count.
doesn't look low budget. It doesn't look
Every
like your
second,
typical Tubi
no,
film.
every second of that filming counted. And whilst it was filmed quickly, it was literally bang, let's do this scene. Okay, next. Virtually no second takes. I think once or twice maximum we had to do a second take, purely because of camera angles as well, not because of what was done or was wrong on camera, I think, from memory. But yeah, that was,
Just want a different angle, and
yeah,
that's kind of interesting too. Because I feel like if you take the first take, sometimes the first take is the rawest or realist,
yeah,
and sometimes
often.
you just go with that. Boom. As the person keeps reading the lines, it kind of loses its
Oh, it
essence.
100% loses. It 100% loses. And while there's not that many speaking lines in this film, let's be honest.
No,
But when I have worked on full scripted movies, yeah, it's 100% difficult when you are being told by the director, oh, can you say that line a bit differently? Okay, can we do it again? Oh, the lighting was wrong. Can we do it again? And you really do lose the meaning behind the lines, very much so. So it's really hard. I think even Tom Hanks has talked about playing Woody in Toy Story,
and having to redo and
and having
redo
to
and redo.
redo. And it's, yeah, I was at something last night where an actor was talking about his experiences on set and with a certain director, and he was saying, oh, he's a great director, he's a lovely person, but my God, he just made me do that line 50 times and I was just so bored. So yeah, it's very much an issue when it comes to doing that sort of thing.
But that is also another kind of, I would say, little bit of what Guerrilla's been able to do with his films, and that's keep the dialogue of vocals, if not none, minimum.
Yeah.
I think Corporate Torment had the most talk.
Yes, but even some of that was mostly on screen. Whilst I was saying the lines when we recorded, he was actually feeding me the lines. I didn't have the script. Yeah, so if my line was, I don't know, he would say, right, I'm walking across the room. I'm walking across the room. And now I'm going to go downstairs. And now I'm going to go downstairs. So whilst I was saying the lines, he was literally feeding them to me one at a time. And then it was all put on screen.
Cut. Yeah.
Just cut through. And that's why you don't actually hear me speak. So very much. So again, I had no concept really of how it was going to end up.
Yeah. No, I like it though. Like I was saying, even as the film he did before Darius has no voice at
No,
all, no
no.
no speaking, and everything in that movie, like his others, are kind of open to interpretation. We don't even know who the characters are. You know, everybody's just their name, but they're not. We don't know. You know who Darius is, for instance. We don't know who anybody is. And I think that that also just gives the viewer more to think about when they watch, and the more we have to think about when we watch, the more we get into the film. It's not something that's boring us where we can sit and watch and play on our phones. It's something that we have to sit and kind of study so we can
Yeah.
kind of grasp of what we're watching. And this
Mm.
just involves the viewer and engages us much more than a lot of other films because like I said I see a lot of films even in theaters, and I'll see people just flick up their phone and they'll start scrolling. And at that point, I'm like, okay, the film lost them. They're done. You
Yeah, that's
know,
very frustrating. I absolutely hate people getting their phones out in theaters and cinemas.
it's
Please don't.
horrible.
Please
Horrible.
don't. It's just vile. It's just rude. I think we're getting I'm a huge theatre goer. I attend a lot of I live in London.
Yep.
And I'm lucky enough to be close enough to do a lot of theatre trips, especially, I mean, I go all over the place, but especially into the West End. And I find it, I think we're getting a bigger problem here with people accessing their phones during a performance. It seems to be becoming a bigger issue. I don't know if it's becoming an issue in the States, especially, I'm mainly thinking of Broadway in New York. But people trying to film in the middle of a show or getting their phone out to text or something like that.
I mean, I'll notice this. I go to a lot of events. I go to sports events sometimes. I go to other events, and I'll say there's at least 30 to 40%, 50%, maybe even the people are watching these events through their screen.
Yeah,
If it's allowed, if
you're
it's
filming a
allowed to be
sports
filmed, they film
game.
it.
Yeah, you're filming a sports game, but you're just watching it through a screen. It's right in front of you.
I mean, I could see if you're doing something with this footage, if you're running shows or you run a podcast or you edit the films or you break it down or you edit the footage. But there's people out there that are filming things, not watching it live, and will never watch the film that's even on their phone. They're just like, oh, it's
Absolutely.
over, and then just put their phone away.
Yeah.
And in some things, I don't think everything needs to be filmed. You want to film one moment, okay, cool, but you don't got to film the whole thing.
No,
You know?
if you go to a big concert with a massive band that you love, fine, you might I might film my favorite songs, just like a minute or so if they're playing my favorite song, just so I've got that. But I might do that a couple of times. But other than that, I want to watch them on stage.
Yeah, I paid the money to do that. I can stay
paid
home.
probably quite a lot of money.
And that's the thing, a lot of people I think are living through a camera, which
I think
I hate to say it doesn't make them present. They're not even
yeah,
with, you ask them a question, they don't even, they're like, what? It's like,
I think some artists, certainly in the UK, I don't know if it's becoming a thing in the States, are even now they're advertising their shows. And this is kind of more with more intimate venues that only have a few hundred people. It's probably not going to be possible if you were in some massive stadium with 10,000 people. But some shows, they are banning phones. People have to lock their phones away. Events. They're given a bag and they have to lock their phones away before the concert, and nobody can get their phones out during the concert. And I think that's a great idea.
There is, and there's some, even I've been to some like horror conventions where they're like, okay, in this room you're not allowed to film anything, in that room you're not allowed to film. Some of it's privacy issues, but some of it, I mean,
yeah,
it's just, I think, because with the phone comes other issues, and also, with the movies and the Broadway and all of this, there's people out there that are filming it, but they're filming it to pirate it, and in that case, the original owners are losing the money, and it's a lot easier to do now than it was years ago. You don't need this massive. You can bring in a small little phone and film anything you want. And it's out there. There's movies out there you can watch right now from websites, and you'll see people get up and walk because they're in a theater. It's being shown from a theater angle. But again, this just takes away from the artist. It takes away from the directors, the producers.
Yeah. I have a huge problem with, I'm particularly against AI in the creative world. AI is very good in certain ways for medicine, science, data crunching, that sort of thing. In the creative arts, I absolutely detest use of AI, and it steals from artists. It steals from people being paid for their work. It just puts garbage out there.
It does. And
And
the only
it's
thing I think
crazy.
you can really do with AI is, I mean, if you're in creative, and there are people out there that don't have creativity, you can ask it for ideas. You can ask it for, starter samples or something. You can use it for editing. If you want to use it for spell check, you can use it to, edit your work and your writing, or give you some, feedback. But nobody out there that's making or creating something or calling themselves a creator should be using AI to create and make their work.
Mhm.
It's first of all, it all looks the same. You can tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
And second of all, it's just, again, it's taking away from somebody else. If you
You
wanted to
could
make
never,
whatever, you can hire that person to do it rather
yeah,
than
you could
do it.
really not have created The Benefactress using AI imagery. You can tell AI to, right, I want a scene with that actress doing this to that actress, and I want them to look like this. Like,
Nope.
just
It
the
would have been
way,
violation flagged. It would have been like,
the
Chat
way that,
GPT will not do this.
yeah, and even if you found an AI bot that could do, machine that could do that, you couldn't ever recreate what Guerrilla has recreated on film. The subliminal messaging, the
Everything. No, there's
actions, the
nothing you can do.
artistry, the music. Yeah,
But
there's
I
no
mean, even
way.
I don't know about in the UK, but in the US, we have an AI actress supposedly. I mean, there's nobody out there that can be created with an AI that could replace a juicy X in a film. You can't get the mannerisms, you can't get the everything as the total package.
I'm unique, darling.
You are. He told me you're unique. That's why he wanted you on these projects. He said it's perfect for the project. He spoke
Yeah,
very highly of you. Okay,
no,
all
I
great
love
things.
Guerrilla. He's great. He and his family are lovely.
Um, you know, I'm from Italy too, not from, I mean, I'm Italian, I wasn't born there, but
Okay.
his accent, it reminds me a lot of my families because they still live there, and so they talk with the same kind of accent that he has, and he's only his where he lives is only about probably an hour away from where my family was from, but,
Oh, amazing.
yeah, it's cool. I actually got cousins too in London too, my cousin lives
Oh,
out
cool.
there. She went out there to do fashion or something, but no, I don't think you could recreate any of these kind of films using AI. I don't even think AI could come up with the concepts to create these kinds of films. These films are so
Mm,
unique that they're from,
mm.
the director's minds, that and also the fact that he changes as he goes. An AI can't make those kind of
Yeah, and
changes.
AI can't think like that. It doesn't have that imagine. That's the thing. AI doesn't have the imagination of a director on the set in the moment. So yeah, there's no
No, it
way.
just makes his scene, and it might not even make sense when it's done. And people
Yeah,
put that out as is. They don't even look at it, but a
and I'd
director
probably
would
end
know
up
that,
with two
hey,
heads
this
and
isn't
six
working.
fingers.
Switch, and do, like, whatever, and
Yeah,
make it work. And it's like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And like I said, I'd probably end up with two heads and six fingers.
Yeah, that too. They haven't perfected the way it looks, and I'm kind of scared if they do. Because once they get that down, I think a lot more people are gonna start to like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it is a worry that the more that the monster is fed, the clever it's going to become.
That too.
And that is an issue. So at the moment, I think most of it is still pretty identifiable, but yeah, we could be getting closer to it not being quite as easy. People fall for this stuff as well,
Well, the internet's not. I mean, the internet's not the best place, but it's the best place for AI to trick you because they put them in posts that are very quickly scrollable, and you're
yeah,
just scrolling through your Facebook or whatever. You see something, you might not even realize it's AI. It looks kind of real. You just keep,
yeah.
you just engage,
And
and there's
I know we're here to talk about the film and not politics, but things like seeing a certain politician say deliver a speech, and that speech is about, I don't know, something horrible, and everyone believes it, but it's actually just some AI produced bot that's
yep,
making
yep.
that
There we get that too,
yeah.
and And that's where I guess I get a little concerned, because if we're able to do that, then I mean, what will that mean for the film world? What will that mean for people being able to cut out actors, cut out whatever, or just
I
get,
mean,
a very simple video that was shot in, 20,
yeah,
30 minutes, and then AI edit the rest of it.
yeah.
And
I
you're
mean,
not even saying anything.
if you tell it to create a new Marvel film, and I want this character and lots of explosions and blah blah blah, and here's a description, and you get an hour Marvel movie that's complete garbage, but you've paid no actors, you've paid no cameramen. It's massively detrimental to the film world because you are losing. Hey, fine, AI is cheap. I can produce a movie on my laptop for virtually no money, but I'm not paying any of these staff to work on this film. None of the editors, none of the creators, none of the CGI artists. And let's be very, very clear: CGI is very, very different from AI.
It is. It's hugely different. I mean, I'm not a big fan of CGI in horror per se, unless it's for monsters. I don't believe in fake blood.
Mm,
If you're gonna use blood, use practical blood, practical effects. And I'm from, like I said, I like the slasher films where they would, do
yeah,
these, but sci-fi movies, anything like that,
yeah,
VFX have made it. Star Wars. You want to watch a Star Wars film? That's the newer ones. The older ones, he was still using practical explosions. But when he went back, George Lucas went back and start VFX became bigger. He went in
yeah,
and fixed certain things with CGI. And he was able to do some crazy things. And CGI is definitely not AI. CGI is still a man-made. You're sitting in front of you, making
yeah,
3D models, and you're
yeah,
meticulously making them move in a realistic way. You might even
yeah,
bring in humans and track their movements and get them to track what's on the screen. So there
yeah,
you have an actor playing
yeah.
the
But you are
CGI
paying,
character.
and you're paying the actor, and you're paying the cameraman, and you're paying the editor, and everything.
You actually own a camera. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're making a film with AI, you haven't even bought a camera, most likely.
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Um,
it's a risk. I mean, it's if anyone chose to steal my image from the benefactress and use it for something else, I mean, I think that'd be pretty difficult given the design of the movie.
They would have
But
to pick. They'd have to really find a scene they could use, and depending on what they're selling, I don't know.
everything's so fast cut, it would be quite difficult.
But I think that's also the appeal to some of these, like, not mainstream videos. I feel like when AI does hit the cinema world, it's going to hit with the mainstream world. It's not going to be the independent artists and the independent people that are going to
Yeah,
gear towards this. It's going to be the billion-dollar companies that want to cut corners.
yeah, you're probably right. I think that the independents, such as a majority of the, it's not something I'm like 100% familiar with, but the horror genre is probably mostly made these days by independents. So you're not going to get Disney or Marvel Universe involved in that. If they want to put out an AI movie, they will because they can afford it.
Yeah.
And it'll probably still be garbage, but
But they could also afford to put out the AI movie, use human editors, edit the movie to look like it's real, and then
yeah,
put it out, and we not know.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I don't know. But like I said, I don't see any of the young or the people that are on the indie scene. We have, a lot of them, first of all, they make films that can't even get ratings because they've gone outside of the box.
mm.
You put the benefactors to the rating committee, they're gonna ban it. It's at least NC-17.
Yes,
Um,
which is why it will never be shown here.
yes, and the US has its laws too, but some of these things are, a little bit more, we have a little bit more leeway. But
It's interesting. I don't know why is it that the States is more relaxed about this sort of thing, or more people are accepting of it, or is it just that the British are too uptight? Don't get me
yeah.
wrong. I'm sure there is a huge horror fan base out there, that, but most of them won't get to see this film in
Oh
the
yeah.
UK.
Yeah. Um, but I mean that's a lot of films. I mean, like Cannibal Holocaust, that's one of my favorite films, and that was restricted almost everywhere, banned everywhere for multiple reasons. Um, just now getting kind of a little bit of hype again, but for the longest time couldn't be shown. In the US again, we can buy these Blu-rays, DVDs, we can buy physical media, but will it be shown at a movie theater? Probably not. I
Mm.
did hear though that The Benefactress will be actually doing a couple of screenings here in the US, which I'm excited for because one of
I
them
am
is only like
so
3, 4
excited. Yeah.
hours away from me. So I might try to go and see that and see it on the screen.
And how far is that? Did you say
About 3,
4
4
hours?
hours. Yeah, about 4 hours.
This is what I love is that because America is so huge, is that driving 3 or 4 hours just to go and see a movie means it's fine. Whereas most of
Yeah,
us
I go 6 hours to the conventions. It's whatever, a couple
whereas
states over.
most of us complain about having to travel an hour into the city in the UK.
If you drive
We're
6 hours, you
tiny.
could be in Germany by
We're
then.
tiny. Yeah, 6 hours. I could have flown to
You'd be like,
Scotland or
you're in
France or
Italy.
wherever.
Oh, okay. We're still in the US. We haven't left
Yeah,
the second state.
yeah, but yeah, and you still 3 hours driving and you still haven't left your own state. I
Yeah.
love that. Because I think we forget how damn big America is.
We forget how big it is compared when I drive to other people. Like, yeah, if we drive 3 hours, we're out of there. And it's like, that's not me. We're still here.
But I'm
But
very
it also,
excited
like I
about
said, if you're the
about
passion is
those.
real. People drive. People drive for horror. Like some of these cons, some people drive in 8 hours to come to and meet guests. It's kind of a unique experience because people do just travel all over for the same common
I
love of
think
the horror.
cons are very different. I'm a part of a couple of fandoms that have cons, and people will fly from America and Australia to the UK to come to these cons, because, like as you say, when it's part of a fandom, you just want to be there and take part.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And I'm like I said, I look forward to seeing what's gonna happen. He said it was gonna be screened in Pennsylvania, I believe. And like I said, that's not too far. It's about 4 hours.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few places they're hoping to. I don't know the details. It's all sort of to be confirmed. But yeah, we're very excited that it is being screened on the big screen and that people can get to see it.
I think it will get good reception. I think people are gonna enjoy it. If not, I mean, it'll be what it is. But there will be a fan base for this kind of stuff because it's not seen all over the place. And it's not your common market. We are just about out of time. I usually run like about an hour. Um, but I wanted to say, again, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing everything about this.
Thank you for having me. It's been
You
great
know,
to talk to you.
I know like I said, like you said, you kind of keep this part of your life kind of private, but I'm glad that you are able to find, there's a fan base for this, so you can go out and there are fans that would love to meet you probably that have watched this film and be like, oh my God, there's Juicy X.
That would be
And
so cool because I've been to fan conventions and I'm like, oh my God, it's my favorite actor. I love you. Can you sign this,
that's
please?
the thing. After this movie gets screened in the US, they're gonna want to fly you guys out to these conventions to sign.
That would be brilliant. I'm actually just looking up because I've never actually looked. It doesn't have, okay. I've got just looking at the Rotten Tomatoes review page, but it doesn't have enough to give it a score.
No, it hasn't gone there yet. I think right now with the people are working on Letterbox and I know there's a bunch of reviews on there. I wrote one myself and also on IMDb there's a bunch of video reviews. People and I've watched a lot of it. I did my own review. I mean, it's a mixed bag. There's people that are obviously this film is not for them, but there's a lot of people that are like, this is a totally fucked up film. Go watch it.
Absolutely. And that is, as we had discussed earlier, art divides, art brings people together. Doesn't matter what your choice. So you do you.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you again taking the time coming on
I've
and
loved having this chat.
talking about your role. This has been great. And who knows? Maybe we'll have you back on again. Maybe I'll have you and Guerrilla on if he ever comes out of retirement for doing interviews. Never know. I never say never.
Never say never.
But I am glad that he said he was only doing 2 films because I don't think he can top this one.
I think you're probably right.
I don't think anybody can top this one. I just think mentally, physically, everything that went into it, how it's done, I don't think you can get another product that it would just, they'll always not live up to it. The people be like, it wasn't as good as The Benefactress. It does not going to live up to it.
I guess that's the danger of being a director. You could say that about any famous, well-known big name director. You know, oh, it wasn't as good as your last one.
Well, some people
Steven
don't know when to.
Spielberg.
Well, some people don't know when to stop either. I think.
There is an element of that. I mean, take Spielberg. He's got such a wide variety of films of different.
Oh, different. He's got different. Yeah, in different franchises, he can kind of
different
play with
franchises.
toy with.
So, but he'll always be known for certain ones, you know.
Well, yeah, and then there's some people that take their franchise and just extend it way too long, and then you're like, bring it back. Just
yeah, there's one that was like, it's now got like 10. One particular that comes to mind that I don't really watch, but it's got like 10 movies now. It's like, just stop.
Just be done. Well, thank you very much. Enjoy your day. Thank you, everybody at home, for watching. And as
thank
always,
you so much.
Thank you. And at home, everybody, I want you to do one thing. I want you to go to Blood Pack Videos, check out The Benefactress, order yourself a copy. They have DVD and Blu-ray. I'm going to put all the links, though, for you so you don't have to go searching. And get yourself a copy of it. Check it out and let me know what you think. Write to me, email me, message me. Let's have a discussion about The Benefactress. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have yourself a great night. We're out.